Authorities in Punjab, India's sole Sikh-majority state, are intensifying efforts to locate a prominent figure within the separatist movement, taking extraordinary measures in the process. Police are conducting a large-scale crackdown in their search for Amritpal Singh, who has been dubbed as a self-proclaimed preacher in the country's English language press. Last month, Singh managed to evade arrest alongside several of his followers, prompting officers to apprehend over 100 individuals suspected of disrupting law and order as a precautionary measure.
Scores of Khalistani supporters vandalized the Indian High Commission in London on Sunday after the Indian government issued an arrest warrant against Amritpal Singh, a radical preacher from India's Punjab state, who has been accused of attempting to destabilize the state of Punjab.
What is happening in Punjab? I discuss the situation with my co-host Ankur. I am Mukta and you are listening to the News Park. Hi Ankur, how are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm also good. So, Ankur, tell me, what are these riots about? What's happening in Punjab?
Well, these riots are directly related to the Khalistan.
So, I'm familiar with the Khalistan movement, but can you explain it to me a little bit?
Yep. Khalistan is a proposed independent Sikh state. It is a Sikh separatist movement seeking to create a homeland for Sikhs by establishing a sovereign state called Khalistan in the Punjab region.
And the Khalistan movement has been around since India's independence, right? And subsequent partition along religious lines.
The declaration of the Khalsa by Guru Gobind Singh in 1699 and the religio-political vision that came with it fired the Sikh imagination with the belief that it was their God-given right to rule the Punjab.
Okay, so let's go back in time. Like, how did it all start?
Well, the Khalistan movement has its origin traced back to India's independence and subsequent partition. And in 1970s and 80s, a violent successionist movement to create Khalistan paralyzed the Punjab for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It received support from All India Sikh Student Federation and was led most effectively by Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. The idea of Khalistan actually emerged in 1940s as a response to perceived discrimination and persecution against Sikhs in India. However, it was not until 70s that the Khalistan movement gained momentum, fueled by a sense of injustice among some Sikhs who felt that their right and identity were being suppressed.
And I know that the demand for Khalistan led to a wave of violence and terrorism in the 1980s and 90s, including the assassination of Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by Sikh militants in 1984. The Indian government responded with a heavy-handed crackdown on that movement, which basically led to further violence and human rights abuses.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming back to today, do you think it is still strong?
Well, today the demand for Khalistan has largely faded, although some Sikh separatist groups still exist and continue to advocate for an independent Sikh state.
And what about the Indian government's response to it?
The Indian government remains strongly opposed to the idea of Khalistan, and the issue remains a contentious one in Indian politics.
So, generally, when we hear about Khalistan news, there's always violence associated. Like, I know bombing incidents, assassinations, hijacking. So, can you explain why this movement is always linked to such incidents?
Well, the Khalistan movement was marked by a wave of violence and terrorism in 80s and 90s. Some militant groups such as Babur Khalsa International and the Khalistan Commando Force engaged in bombings and assassinations that you're talking about in their pursuit for an independent Sikh state.
And I also know about the Air India flight hijacking incident. Can you recall the details for me?
The violence associated with the Khalistan movement was not limited to India. In 1985, Sikh militants hijacked an Air India flight, killing all 329 passengers and crew members on board. The bombing was believed to be a response to the Indian government's crackdown on the Khalistan movement. While the Khalistan movement has largely faded in recent years, some Sikh separatist groups continue to engage in violence and terrorism. In 2019, for example, a Sikh separatist group claimed responsibility for a bombing at a police station in India that injured 10 people.
But we all will agree that not all Sikhs support or condone the violence associated with the Khalistan movement, right?
Many Sikhs have spoken out against the use of violence and terrorism in pursuit of an independent Sikh state and have instead advocated for peaceful means of achieving their goal.
So the Indian government's response, what is their response now? What are they doing now?
In addition to the use of force, the Indian government also enacted laws and policies aiming to suppress the Khalistan movement. Do you know what the Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Prevention Act?
Yeah, Tata.
Yep, yeah. TADA was
Mhm.
passed in 1985, which gave the Indian government sweeping powers to arrest and detain suspects without trial. The law was criticized for being used to target Sikhs and other minority groups.
Yeah. So, okay, let's jump on to the current events. Who is Amritpal Singh? And I know he is a self-styled preacher that you just said, who claims to represent the Sikh community. And he recently married NRI Kirandeep Kaur. That was the news, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, in addition to that, thousands of policemen in Punjab are searching for Amritpal Singh, a controversial self-styled preacher, as you said, whose incendiary reviews and sudden rise to fame have sparked a political crisis in the North Indian state. The police have declared Singh a fugitive after he escaped during a dramatic car chase in Jalandhar district recently.
Amritpal Singh, who is now on the run, has been accused of indoctrinating and attracting Sikh youth into a unit called Varis Punjab De, or literally translating to inheritors of Punjab.
And where is he now?
Well, after the escape from Hoshiarpur on March 29, the police have been clueless about the hideouts of Amritpal Singh.
Yeah, and his aide Preet Singh as well.
Yeah, he and his aide have been evading arrest since March 18th.
Yeah, I saw in the news that he has been changing his appearance to escape, totally changing his looks, his outfits, changing from one car to another, just like any thriller movie. But what do they both want? Like a separate homeland for the Sikhs?
Amritpal Singh is considered a radical within the Khalistan movement, which is looking to create a homeland for those of Sikh faith in India's northern Punjab region. The group wants to form a new country called Khalistan to include parts of India and Pakistan, with Lahore as its capital.
They have an identity crisis. Balochs are struggling with their identity. Punjabi people are struggling with it. Punjabi language being expressed there. Punjab being the largest state in Pakistan, still they can't take their oath in Punjabi. They can't speak Punjabi. They don't have. It's not an official language anymore. They don't teach Punjabi in schools, and there are many identity crises with Afghanistan. Both are the Muslim countries. Afghanistan, they're still having clash. There is militant movements going on there. So what I am telling you, Punjab will have a solution under Khalsa Raj. Either that's a Punjab in Pakistan or a Punjab in India.
What is that solution?
The solution is the old Punjab. Punjabi, we have a cultural similarity between Punjabi people. We have a different religion, but cultural similarities. And cultural similarities way huge. So what we are seeking to have a Punjab as a separate state, a separate country where we can flourish as a culture.
Singh is the chief of Varis Punjab De, an organization formed by...
Yeah, I know that organization is formed by Punjabi actor turned activist Deep Sidhu to fight for social justice and preserve the rights and culture of Punjab.
Yep, right. This fight against Amritpal Singh and his activities has been growing ever since he came back to Punjab from Dubai last year and started making fiery speeches, dressed like the slain Khalistani militant Janel Singh Bhindrawale.
Now, Khalistani ideologue Amritpal has made a fresh provocation. He's compared the situation in the state of Punjab with that of Kashmir and Palestine. Amritpal said, "Why should we say we are Indians?"
Yeah, I know that he has actually been successful in brainwashing people. I mean, we have seen people following him, preaching him in various parts of the country. Like there are groups from London, Australia, Canada who are openly supporting him, coming out in the open with their yellow Khalistani flags, protesting. But tell me, Ankur, how has the police tackled the situation? I know that there's a lot of police involvement.
Yeah, the police have declared him a fugitive and launched a statewide search for him. Singh has blamed the police, of course, for the clash and has accused them of wrongdoing.
Mhm.
However, visuals show his supporters storming the police station without any provocation.
Yeah, Singh supporters insist he's peaceful, and instead they just say that it is the Indian government that is violating human rights. These allegations are backed by Canadian academics and activists who say that India's government is using the hunt as an excuse to crack down on dissent. Amritpal Singh operates as a preacher for his followers, but if you actually look at how he operates, there's nothing he has not done to inflict violence. I mean, he has been encouraging gun culture in Punjab, facilitating criminal gangs throughout. And
Mhm.
that Ajnala incident, there
Yeah.
he had deliberately put Sri Guru Granth Sahib in a minibus just in front, during the clash with the police. I mean, how, mm, like, he was disrespecting its sanctity. You cannot carry a religious book to a protest site. And his supporters, have also vandalized two gurdwaras earlier.
Yeah, Singh led a group called Varis Punjab De, which means heirs of Punjab, and made national headlines in February when hundreds of its supporters stormed local police station with guns and swords to demand
Yeah.
the release of a jailed aide. The chain of events has once again propelled Singh, who says he supports the Khalistan movement for a separatist Sikh homeland, to national attention.
So you are basically seeking a separate country, Khalistan for Sikhs,
No, not for Sikhs, for Punjabis.
for Punjab.
For everybody living in here.
But isn't that separatism? Isn't that revolting against the idea of India?
No, it's not. The idea of India was given by Britishers. There was no India before 1947. Britishers wanted a bigger colony, so they given one unified identity of India. And when you have a unified identity of India, there need to be a language that's similar. There need to be a culture that's similar. There is no similarity in our cultures.
Yeah, and is there any influence from outside India, like the neighboring countries, like from Nepal, I've heard?
Yeah, there are reports that Amritpal Singh is hiding in Nepal, and India has requested the Nepal government not to allow him to flee to a third country and arrest him if he attempts to escape using Indian passport or any other fake passport. There is also suspicion of foreign funding and ISI involvement in Amritpal Singh case.
So what do the local Punjab population say about him?
Well, they have mixed opinion about him. Some residents say that he is asking people to taste Amrit and stay away from drugs and talk about the problems of Punjab that have not been solved since 1984. However, some residents say they do not endorse the call for Khalistan and say that it's mainly outsiders who frequent Amritpal Darbar at the Gurdwara. An elderly man outside the village says that while those who support Amritpal are vocal, those who don't remain silent.
That's true. Amritpal Singh's major following is surprisingly youth. He actually influences people on social media. The the Indian government has also urged YouTube to use artificial intelligence and mathematical tools to, automatically identify and block objectionable content that he spreads. And I was like reading that YouTube is, in the Indian context, is facing difficulties because the content which is being uploaded is in regional languages, mostly Punjabi, and the system used to check the content is based on English language. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that they're not fully successful in stopping the spread of fake news that Amritpal Singh is divulging.
Makes sense.
So the question now is like, what is going to happen in the future? What do you think?
Well, it's quite unpredictable, to be honest. These kinds of riots have happened before in Punjab. The demands were same, just the face of protest was different. It's not easy and, to be honest, not possible to make a separate country out of a state. So I'm I'm sorry, but I don't have a straightforward answer for that.
No, it totally makes sense. Well, thank you for discussing this topic, Ankur, and bringing light on this issue. I hope our listeners got to learn something interesting.
Yep, thank you so much.
The riots in Punjab about Khalistan are not new, but every time these riots or protests happen, we just see loss of life and property. There's always a diplomatic way of resolving issues instead of violence, which causes inconvenience and terror for the general population. What goes behind closed doors when the government makes certain decisions is very difficult to predict. But we can only hope that this issue is resolved soon and for good this time. Thank you for listening. See you next time.